Hello, my awesome and wonderful viewers. It is indeed a beautiful afternoon, and thank you very much for joining me. Welcome to yet another interesting edition of the Sports Smarts, the ultimate question and answer challenge. Hello, guys. I will be your host. My name is Steven Chisengamwape, otherwise your very own sports combo journalist. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so very much excited to be guiding you through quite an exciting journey of sports trivia and knowledge. And ladies and gentlemen, today is going to be a very big event in Mr. Simba's voice. Reason being is because we're going to discuss about a lot of games today. So fast forward, we'll talk about the English Premier League, we'll talk about La Liga, we'll talk about Serie A, not forgetting the German Bundesliga. Also, we'll talk about the UEFA Champions League games that took place this from Monday to Thursday. Ladies and gentlemen, like I earlier introduced myself, my name is Steven Chisengamwape. We're going to go on a short break and we'll be back shortly. Hello, my dear viewers. Thank you very much for still staying with us. Like I earlier mentioned, welcome to yet another interesting edition of the Sports Smarts, the ultimate question and answer challenge. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said in my preamble, today it's going to be a very big event, and I feel like today I'm going to break my protocol a little bit. I won't say, no matter how powerful my intro can be, I can't best introduce my guests the way they can introduce themselves. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think today I'll take the privilege the momentum to introduce my guests, because I will be introducing my guests for a reason. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not alone in the studio, and I'm not joined by one but two sports enthusiasts, or rather two sports gurus who are so very much ready to tackle a series of challenging questions with me right here, right now. But today we're going to do it a bit different. We're not going to ask the questions because of the panel that I'm having. We're going to do it a little bit different, but it's still going to be the Sports Smarts and a very interesting show. So right about now in the studio, I'm joined by a student at the Information and Communications University pursuing a bachelor's degree in mass communication. She's in semester 8 and also a Manchester United fan. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome Ruth Nyorongo. Thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you very much, Steve.
My other guest, ladies and gentlemen, is someone I know so much about the world of football. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about Lubona, a semester 3 student pursuing a Bachelor's of Science in Systems Engineering here at the Information and Communications University. Welcome, Madam Lubona.
Thank you, Steve.
Fast forward, we're going to dive into the world of sports. So, ladies, thank you very much. We're going to start with the English Premier League. So, we had games that took place in the English Premier League. That was last weekend. It was a very good weekend and bad weekend for the Panthers. So when I talk about the Panthers, I mean those people who do betting. A lot of people complain to say, I even saw a post of our very own big Panther in Zambia Magnet saying the FIFA should investigate teams like Barcelona, they should investigate teams like Liverpool, also investigate teams like Manchester United for failing to beat teams that he felt Manchester United and these other teams were going to beat. Just like they do. But it was the other way around. These teams managed to get the better of Manchester United and some other teams. So ladies, we'll start with the English Premier League. Madam Ruth, English Premier League, Manchester United, Brentford. What do you think went wrong for Manchester United? They lost by 3-1.
So basically, that was really a good game.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel we really had poor defense.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't really build the momentum so well. And the other challenge that I've actually noticed is on our coach.
Coach Amorim.
Yeah, Coach Amorim.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually rotates too much, because you'd find players, the way Manchester United and Chelsea played, that was a really good game. Yeah, the momentum was built, we had good defense, the positioning was so good. But instead of using the same formation, he always changes each and every game. He always changes the formation. So it's so hard for the players to get the tactics. If they didn't play the previous game, they come to the other game, which is kind of different. Difficult for them to actually get in touch or know the tactics. And the other thing is our goalkeeper. Okay, like everybody's talking about him. Yeah, everyone is talking
Manchester, you're always
about
complaining.
him. Yeah, we're always complaining because we need the best.
Yeah.
So everyone is always complaining about our goalkeeper. He's been making a lot of mistakes. Like looking at the previous 3 games that he actually saved, he's actually making a lot of big mistakes. But I know, hoping that we'll win the next game. That we'll have some goals.
All right. First of all, when I talking about the same game, Manchester United Brentford, we saw a much-needed penalty that Manchester United were awarded, and a very good penalty taker, Bruno Fernandes. On that day, it wasn't his day. He missed that penalty, of which some Manchester United fans were blaming Bruno Fernandes, who's been a very good penalty taker for Manchester United. What's your take about Bruno Fernandes missing that penalty?
I feel as if the fans don't get the players' point of view and their perspective. Like sometimes you just don't get the penalty. Maybe the goalkeeper is too good or he goes the right way. Otherwise, he's taken the blame when Manchester United wins. He's the one, like he's the star. And when they lose, he takes the entire blame. Like no one gets to blame the entire team. What if the one given a penalty, they still would have lost? So they should concentrate and look at the entire team and blame the entire team, the management and the coach, so that they can do better and give better results to their fans rather than blaming a penalty. What if they didn't have that penalty? Who would they blame? They wouldn't blame anyone.
Yeah.
So yes, they shouldn't rely on a penalty if they're going to a game. They should be able to win a game without any penalties.
But Manchester United, it's not just about penalties. Please. I hope Coach Amorim will make sure we'll try by all means to just bring in new tactics, because like Madam Ruth has said, he's always changing squad, doing rotations, playing Belmo today, playing the other players today. So I believe he's trying by all means to just get to that point where I would say this is the right squad for the team. Okay, fast forward, ladies.
Just the addition on
all right,
Bruno.
Madam Ruth.
Yeah, just the addition on Bruno. I feel since he's carrying the whole Manchester squad, so he feels so pressured when like the time they gave us a penalty, then they went to check the VRA. So he was like disturbed and say, "Oh, I'm carrying the whole Manchester. I see the game the way
And
it's
he had
going."
to score.
Yeah, so I have to score, I just have to do it. So he's just too pressurized. He has too much pressure. So
Exactly.
we can't just blame him.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bruno Fernandes remains a very, 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 very trusted player at Manchester United. Even after the same game, we still got the player of the month for Manchester United, which means they see what he can do and they still trust Bruno Fernandes as the skipper for Manchester United. Ladies, fast forward, we'll talk about Liverpool Crystal Palace. A game that a lot of people were shocked, because a lot of people thought Liverpool was going to get over Crystal Palace, just like any other game. But to our surprise, Liverpool lost Crystal Palace by 2-1. Madam Luwona, you take this. What's your take about the game?
I wasn't surprised because it's the Premier League. Even Wolves can beat the best team in the Premier League. The Premier League is the toughest league in the world because you get to rotate and play against big teams, powerful teams. It's not like any other league where you find El Clasico happens twice in a season, Madrid derby twice in a season.
Yeah.
You find that Madrid will be meeting small teams, Barcelona will be meeting small teams, PSG small teams, but you find in the Premier League, you play against United, which is a big team. You play against Chelsea, which is a big team. You play against Arsenal. You play against Crystal Palace. You play against Brighton and other big teams. So you find it's very hard to win each and every game. So I wasn't surprised because the Premier League is full of surprises. But yeah, it was disappointing how a lot of players played. Like Florian Wirtz, like he's been there, no goal, no assist. But I hope he finds his place, he finds his rhythm again, gets back to his top.
So I remember Madam Ruth spoke about Coach Amorim making rotations. So when we talk of Arne Slot, Madam Luwona, I think it's the same thing. Because when you look at Liverpool, also Arne Slot has been making rotations. I don't know, still waiting for that right moment to maybe to just find that team that is going to be using whenever he's going into a tough game. So when you look at the striking force, of course, Alexander Isak, we saw what Alexander Isak did with the time he was playing for Newcastle. And we expected that same because a lot of people were predicting, even way before the Premier League started this season, to say Liverpool defending the Premier League. Because they signed players. They signed Ekitike, they signed Florian Wirtz, they signed Alexander Isak. So what makes you think Alexander Isak? Is it the environment? But I wouldn't say the environment because he's still playing in England. So when you look at Alexander Isak, he's a player who's still playing football to that extent, and he's trying by all means to adapt to the environment. So before you take that, we're going to go on another short break, and we'll be back shortly.
Did you know that mental health conditions are treatable and recovery is possible? Hi, I'm Ngenia Febamoyo. I'm your host on Let's Talk Mental Health. I invite you all to this show where you freely express yourself, and together we find a solution. For more details, you can contact 0777 93 73 92, and we'll be there to help you find solutions to whatever you're going through.
Hello and thank you for joining us today. It is a remedy to your emotions, and I am Chipe Progressi, your companion through this journey of healing and self-discovery. Do you ever find yourself in a situation where you wonder if you can find a place you can fully express yourself? Well, a remedy to your emotions is a safe space for you, and we are here to adhere to your problems. Join us every Friday as we talk about problems, address these problems that you are facing, and give advice where necessary. For more details, visit our Facebook page, ICU TV, our YouTube channel, A Remedy to Your Emotions, or contact 0974 548770.
Hello dear viewers, thank you very much for still staying with me. Like I earlier mentioned, we're live on the Information and Communications University on Facebook, and Information and Communications University Television, ICU TV on Facebook, not forgetting the Zambia Research and Development Center. So if you're just joining us, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. We'll be able to attend to your comment with my guest right here. So ladies, fast forward, Lubona, we're talking about Liverpool. So they had their first loss in the English Premier League when they won the first 5 games and they lost to Newcastle. What about the game?
The thing is that when you talk about Alexander Isak, you find there's someone better playing in his position. So it's about a thing of proving yourself if you deserve the position. So like whoever performs better in training will be the one to be put in the position. And when it comes to the tactics, there are certain players, the mentality of the players, they might be able to adapt to a tactic easily, and others may not. So as a manager, you are supposed to look at your players and see if they can adapt to it or not. So you need to study your players and see what they're capable of, because you cannot be rotating tactics like United if you see your players cannot grasp the point in a short period of time. But if they're able, you can do that. So if it's working for the coach and he sees that it's working for Liverpool, it's okay for him to do that. And
quick question, who would you start? Ekitike, Alexander Isak, if you were Arne Slot? Ekitike.
Yes.
So Lubona is not the first person to say they would start Ekitike. Okay, Ekitike has been performing very well, and I believe they should just give him that opportunity so that he can still be playing for the Reds, because he's been delivering. The first 3 games he played, he scored in all the games, and he helped Liverpool get those maximum points they needed. So fast forward, we're going to go to the game. That's Chelsea-Brighton. Ruth, but Chelsea, my enemies won. And they had a game last weekend. They lost to Brighton. Brighton, not forgetting that they also beat Manchester City. So Brighton is a very good team. What's your take about Chelsea losing to Brighton?
Wow, our champion.
Please, face the camera.
Our champion. Okay, so basically Chelsea's game was really a good game. Yeah, they actually did a good game, but I'm only having a problem with Chelsea and my red card.
Yeah, okay.
What's really going on with Chelsea? So Chelsea should actually work on that with the red card, but all in all, I feel like the team was shaken the time they were given a red card, and the squad was reduced to 10. So for that, I feel they had so much pressure to say, oh, we need to beat them, and the squad is 10 and everything. But looking at the game, the way it started, Chelsea had really a big opportunity of like scoring more games in the first half.
More goals.
More goals.
Yeah.
More goals in the first half. They really had that opportunity, but I think they should just work on avoiding my red cards. It's a good team. Yeah, we're enemies, but it's a good team. It's a good team.
It's good to hear a Manchester United fan saying Chelsea has a good team when she's here praising the Chelsea fans. Of course, Enzo Maresca should look into that and maybe just try by all means to find those tactics. Because Luan, I'm bringing this question back to you, because Chelsea, of course, they beat the European champions, and PSG was unstoppable last season. And Chelsea managed to beat PSG when a lot of people never thought about the outcome of that game. So Chelsea played the game against Paris Saint-Germain, who are the current European champions, in the Club World Cup final. And to our surprise, Chelsea won that game. Not just winning, but Chelsea dominated that game from the first minute to the last minute. Look on Chelsea losing to they lost to Brighton, sorry. What do you think about that game? Do you think Enzo Maresca needs to make some new tactics, or maybe Chelsea hasn't adapted to that standard of play they did against Paris Saint-Germain?
So I actually think I agree with her. What killed Chelsea was the red card, because it's not easy to play like in the Champions League. In the Premier League, which is the most competitive league with 10 players. And when you look at the Club World Cup final, I felt PSG had a chance of winning it if they didn't underestimate Chelsea. So like if you look at the performance of Chelsea like last season, so PSG was like, it would be easy to beat them. So I felt like they went into the game underestimating them. So like I feel like PSG still would have won that game if they didn't underestimate Chelsea. So I feel like Chelsea are just doing great. They should just work on their red card issue. Otherwise they would have won that game. It was in their hands. So yeah, that's what I have to
Let's
say.
wrap it up on the English Premier League. Manchester City beating Burnley 5-1, Erling Haaland scoring twice. What's your take about Manchester City?
He's the goal scoring machine. He's the cyborg. He's the best. He's making the the Premier League look like Farmers League. Because people think it's easy to score those many goals, but it's not easy if you are playing in the best league in the world. So Haaland is simply good, and I know people say he scores tap-ins and everything, but why is your team failing to score those tap-ins? Like when that tap-in chance comes in, your team is failing and it's losing. So like he scores, he's brilliant, he's good, he's the best goal scorer, and yeah.
Do you feel he's underrated?
Yes, he's underrated because people think he scores tap-ins, but a goal is a goal, whether a penalty or tap-in. Because if I get a penalty, that means you did something wrong in the box. So
Exactly.
don't do something wrong if you don't want me to get the penalty.
I was going to score if you
And
never.
if I got the tap-ins because you palala did, you couldn't defend. So I got to score. So if your team can't manage to finish that tap-in and I managed to finish it, so I should become the villain because I scored that goal. Haaland is good, he's brilliant, and if he was taken to any other league, he'd become even more dangerous. Yeah, so he's underrated.
To our viewers, over 56 followers on the Information and Communications University television, that's ICU TV. I'm going to pose this question to you, my followers, again. Who said women can't discuss football? Because it's just getting hot in here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm having two ladies on the panel, and it's getting hot. I said it in my preamble that it's going to be a big event in Mr. Zimba's voice. We're going to take a brief pause, and we'll be back shortly.
The Information and Communications University is driving the thrill for the nation in research and development. Enroll now for full-time and distance programs in the School of Engineering, Humanities, Business and Education. To apply, visit our website at www.icuzambia.net or call us on +260 211 221 662 or 0966 342 359. Sponsorship is available. Enroll now.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for still staying with us. We're still live on the Information and Communications University television, that's ICU TV on Facebook. Not forgetting the Information and Communications University ICU on Facebook, the main page, and also the Zambia Research and Development Center. So, to join, ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to leave your comments in the comment section. We'll attend to those comments. And to those people wanting to be part of the Sports Smarts next Friday, please, those three mentioned platforms are the right platforms for you people to just maybe drop your names there. Me and my team will try by all means to get in touch with you and bring you on the Sportsman so that to discuss football. Ladies, it's getting hot in here. I have a panel of a Manchester United fan and a Real Madrid fan. It's nice in here. So we're going to talk about La Liga games. Okay, we'll just tackle I think a few La Liga games. So we'll talk about Atletico Madrid. This is Real Madrid, and also talk about Barcelona and Real Sociedad, the games that were played last week. Luan, I'm going to start with Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid. Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, it was a Madrid derby, a very big derby. One of the best games when it comes to Spain's football. And it's not just the people from Spain who watch that football. Almost the whole world, when it's that derby, everyone, Mama Fakamendo, Pansi, popcorn, they start watching that game because a game that a lot of people. So to my surprise, ladies and gentlemen, it's because Atletico Madrid were not performing very well. The 5 first games they played in the La Liga, but they were playing against Real Madrid, a rival for all time. So they had to adapt it. Diego Simeone, I remember on a pre-interview, was like, "Oh, this is going to be a tough game, but I believe in my boys." Because a game before, Julian Alvarez scored a hat-trick that helped Atletico Madrid secure those much-needed 3 points. Luana, Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, 5-2. You guys lost against Atletico Madrid. Sorry. What's your take about that game?
My take about that game is that Adagula played fantastic, Mbappe played fantastic in the entire squad, but were just dominated by Atletico, a much deserved win. Because if you look at the derby, it's an important game, you prepare for it with all your heart and everything. So it was just like revenge. When you look at the last game we played against Atletico, the controversial penalty by Julian Alvarez. So it was just like revenge. You are hungry to get back at us for that controversial penalty that wasn't given to Julian Alvarez because they said he double tapped it and everything. They were great. Going into halftime, we thought maybe we would
come
keep
back
up and everything. Then Julian Alvarez comes in with a penalty and another goal, and I thought Griezmann the 90th minute kills our hope and were like much deserved. And the only thing I can say, as Real Madrid, we need to pick up and be better. We need to be the best because we still have El Clasico and a lot of important matches that we're playing against big teams. So we just need to do better. Otherwise, they played good.
Is it true what they say? You guys, whenever you are going to play against Atletico Madrid at the Wanda Metropolitano, it's always hell for you people. Because when you look at the last 12 games that Real Madrid played against Atletico, you guys have only won once. From the 12 games. So whenever you're playing at the Wanda Metropolitano, it's always hell for you people. So that's just how good Atletico Madrid are when they're playing at home.
Yes, because it's a game that brings a lot of pressure, and you find not a lot of people can manage to handle the pressure. So you find, for example, let's give an example of Barcelona last season in the Champions League against Inter Milan. You find young players like Lamine Yamal have never been in such intensity where it's a very important game. So you don't know how to handle such intensity. And you find that Real Madrid players, some of them like Adabola and other players, they've never handled such intensity. Well, like it's a very important game. You need to handle it very well. You find a few players like Ronaldo would manage to handle such intensity and come back because Atletico Madrid know about Ronaldo. But yeah, so like our players need to have that Ronaldo fighting spirit in them, and they can actually take over and win against Atletico. Otherwise, they're just learning and adapting to play in such intensity because it's a very important game.
So speaking as a Real Madrid fan, what's your take about Xabi Alonso starting Adagola over Rodrigo?
It's a very good thing. Rodrigo is one of the best players we've had in the Champions League. I think Rodrigo
Did you just say in the Champions League?
Yes.
Yeah, you're removing La Liga.
Yes, in the Champions League, because if you look at the game we played against Man City, we wouldn't have won it without Rodrigo coming in the final minutes and scoring 2 goals. And most games, like when Rodrigo comes in, like he's there, he knows how to handle the intensity. Like I feel like he's one of those players that when you get off the bench, he's very good, but I don't feel like he's one of those players where he can play an entire 90 minutes. Yeah, you can start him from the beginning. So it's better to start Adagula because if you look at Adagula this season, he's been good. He's had like 6 assists and 4 goals. He's been assisting, he's been good and consistent, and he's one player that doesn't play for glory of the fans or anything. He plays because he loves the sport. So I feel like it's the right decision, and there are things that we don't see in training so we can't conclude. So if the manager puts in someone, meaning they've proved themselves in training. So exactly. I feel Adagula is the right choice. Trust him.
Madam Ruth Nyongo, who do you think is going to win La Liga? Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, or Real Madrid? Yeah, Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, Real Madrid.
This one is a tough one. It's really tough.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, because the way Barcelona has been coming this season, it's so great.
Yeah.
The way Real Madrid has been playing, the game is so great. So I think personally, I'm a Manchester fan. I'll go for Real Madrid. Definitely.
Why is it so? Why is it so? But they're second on the league. Barcelona is still playing the league.
It doesn't
It
matter.
doesn't matter. I'll
essentially.
still go for Real Madrid because I'm a Manchester fan. Come on, I'll go for Real Madrid.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're still live on the Information and Communications University television. That's ICU TV on Facebook. Also, the Zambia Research and Development Center. That's the ZRGC. And not forgetting the Information and Communications University Facebook page. We'll go on another short break and we'll be back shortly. Don't go away.
Bami wamwene kukupa basofu ate gift ya wedding wewe
kabampo kai honto kweswako
wei
swebo buchiti bachita kuti humbwa wa arwa kumumpa muzo
ale
they give one zo
basa sunu tusegelela akupobola nguzu ya mwanesu musanko yulage mwana mushenge
tamdori ndira
honeymoon yansa yebo tuni kudya honeymoon ndete kuya kusaka ka kupange maloko mbo tuni kukhala amije kuno mudaro lo bagamba kuti utaka kuti nantaka mihi mulusaka ishi ndimubwa kutabaga ndijite claustration bagandi sibe buya baga kuhema jana
iwe amanyiri munganda mwana unkira mafi ya ng'ombe apa peni nada ng'ombe muno
Lucky do you know me? Do you know my wife? Have you seen my wife?
Chirikwi. Urefu atoka ne mochari mpiayo.
Maybe I should go to the doctors.
Bambira ma doctor ati wabora hipondo tu.
Ah.
Chikaringa byani bantu nawe chakaringa byani ko. Oh.
Chachiringo kumichiringanya pamulesu wa mafuta.
Wow. I'm so impressed mura. Pesi ndari kwamba bakuti. Aya mahuta anunkira musimba. Imwe mwakasuba.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for still staying with us. Like I mentioned, we're live on the Information and Communications University television. That's ICU TV on Facebook. Not forgetting the Zambia Research and Development Center, ZRC, and also the Information and Communications University. That's ICU on Facebook. Also, we're live on YouTube. I almost forgot that. We're also live on YouTube. It's ICU TV. So, ladies, we'll now dive into the UEFA Champions League. Look, when I take this face, Real Madrid, Pirates, Mbappe scores a hat-trick. You guys win 5-0. Talk about Kylian Mbappe first. His performance in La Liga, not forgetting the UEFA Champions League, and also people say about Mbappe saying he's just been scoring penalties. He's now become the next Ronaldo. Even Ronaldo is now surprised why Mbappe is scoring a lot of penalties. So please face that camera and address Real Madrid fans, Barcelona fans, and different people across the world.
So first of all, let's be clear. Mbappe is a goat. He won the World Cup at 18. No one does it better than him, and no one, I think, will ever do it in the next decade. So he's a goat. He's unleashing his power, his potential, and everything. Last season was a very bad season for him because he didn't win a major trophy. But this season, he's adapted to the system and he's playing better. And I think he's just good. He's very good. And when it comes to penalties, just as I said, you found me in the box. What do you expect? Like, those are the rules of the game. We found the rules. We can't do anything about them. If there's a way where like something else can be taken in the penalty box if you're fouled, then we'd take it. But even if you look at it, without the penalties, we still would have won. So, yeah. Mbappe is simply the best. No one is better than him. He can assist. He can score. Yeah, so stop comparing him to anyone.
So I'm still with you, Lubona. I think last season, the time Mbappe played his first season for Real Madrid, Ronaldo was saying, because he struggled to adapt to the standard of play that Real Madrid uses. And I remember Cristiano Ronaldo said it on social media that he's still adapting and it's very difficult for a person who was playing as number 7 to play as a first nine. So with time, he's going to adapt. And I think the results have started showing. So do you think you guys need another striker, or maybe you'll be forcing Mbappe as a number 9, just like that, Vinicius number 7 and playing other goal?
I think we have it all under control. Our players can do anything. They can play in any position. The manager recently said Valverde is happy to play in any position. All the players are happy to play in any position. For example, I can take it the last Champions League we won. Jude Bellingham was playing out of position, and he won the Champions League even before other players in La Liga. So we can say that our players can play in any position, and Mbappe is adapting to his position. For example, we can say the same Cristiano Ronaldo, he was a midfielder. Then he came to La Liga, he changed position, and he became the best in his position. So Mbappe can definitely change.
Jude Bellingham, Mastatun, who would you start as a Real Madrid coach?
Right now, Mastatun, because Jude Bellingham, after his surgery, he's still recovering. He's not at his best form, but he's one of the best players we have because he's got great agility. He's able to do anything and play in any position. So yes.
Right, sharp. Madam Yorongo. So we had Galatasaray in the UEFA Champions League playing against Liverpool, and Liverpool lost by a goal to nil. So the surprising part was that a lot of players that play in the first lineup for Liverpool started on the bench. So it still comes back. That's the reason why I'm asking Ruth this question, because I think Arne Slot has been making rotations after rotations, because even that game, I don't know if they underestimated Galatasaray, but to a surprise, they lost by a goal to nil. And there were rotations because Salah started on the bench. What do you think about Liverpool losing to Galatasaray? Do you think it's the coach's problem, or maybe you're still adapting? He's trying by all means to just find that top 11 first squad that's going to be starting?
Yeah, I think he's still figuring out of like putting out the top 11 squad that he can put there. Like Manchester United, it's my team, but I'm still...
Why do you always talk bad about Manchester United?
Things are going bad.
Okay, fast forward about Liverpool. Let's talking about Liverpool.
So all in all, he's actually trying to put out the top 11 there so that he can see if he can actually form a best team. So yeah, maybe that same rotation of rotating at some point it's affecting the team, but on the other side, maybe he's trying to like put the team together and form like the best 11 players.
Lubona, Victor Osimhen scores against Liverpool, a much-needed penalty that helped Galatasaray beat Liverpool. What do you think is wrong with Liverpool?
Okay, I think they took a huge blow when they lost Trent, because you look at the system he was playing, Trent was fitting into it, and then they lose Trent, so they need to find a replacement that can be as good as he is. And then you find internal factors like rumors about like Konate leaving the team, wanting to go to Real Madrid. So you find those internal factors, like they affect the team and their mentality, because it's all about the team and the players' mentality. And then you look at Mohamed Salah having a great season and still losing in the Ballon d'Or. So you might find it also took a toll on his mentality and everything. So I feel like the team is down and they just need to pick themselves up mentally and they can coordinate very well.
Okay, I'm hosting this show and I'm putting on a Barcelona jersey right now. So we're going to talk about Barcelona, Paris Saint-Germain. A game that a lot of Panthers, I'll still talk about the Panthers because, okay, I'm not a Panther for like that, but I'll still talk about Panthers because people were anticipating and the odds were in favor of Barcelona that for the fact that Paris Saint-Germain had a lot of injuries. They had players like Ousmane Dembele, the current Ballon d'Or winner, injured. They had Kvaratskhelia injured. They had Marquinhos injured. They had Desirado injured. They went in Spain and managed to beat Barcelona 2-1. So, Madam Lubona, you take this face. What's your take about PSG beating Barcelona 2-1?
If Nuno Mendes was injured, yes, he would have won. But like he's shown us twice that he knows how to pocket Lamine Yamal.
Come on,
so yes,
getting hot in it.
He managed to pocket Lamine Yamal, and we're hoping he pockets Lamine Yamal, but he managed to pocket the entire squad. And I feel Barcelona would have won, and they still have a chance to win the UEFA Champions League, just as Luis Enrique said. They're still the favorites to win. If they get back their coordination they had last season, I've seen the team break now. Like I feel tension between Lamine Yamal and Rafinha. And I feel like if they get back to the people they were before, who just wanted to win there would be a better squad. But now I feel like the team is gambling for glory, and it's all because of social media and the fans. They're now like they hyped Lamine Yamal to win the Ballon d'Or despite Rafinha having a very good season. So like he feels alone and everything. So now he wants to prove himself that he's better, and Lamine wants to prove himself. So causing tension in the squad. So I feel like if they get back to their ways where they just want to win the trophy, they want to pass the ball to each other, I feel they can win the Champions League because they have a very good squad.
Okay, still on you, Madam Luwana. Fast forward. I didn't want to talk about this, but face that camera and just talk about how you think the Ballon d'Or were awarded. Do you think Dembele deserved that Ballon d'Or, and do you think Lamine Yamal deserved to be second and Vitinha number 3?
I feel
Not forgetting Rafinha number 5.
I feel as if the Ballon d'Or rankings went okay. And Dembele deserved it 100%. He had a great season with Paris Saint-Germain, bringing the Champions League to Paris. They've wanted it for a long time. They bought the most expensive players, but still didn't get it. And then they got it with him post coming from Barcelona. Or he was terrible at Barcelona and everything, and he still managed.
He's labeled an injury prone.
Exactly. So he deserved it. And Lamine Yamal being second, I feel he didn't deserve that. I feel he deserved to be third or fourth. The person who deserved to be second was Rafinha. The fact that Rafinha had more goals in the assists than Lamine, but the fan base, the Barcelona fan base, hyped Lamine Yamal, and the fact that the Ballon d'Or is decided by journalists, so they will get the person who is hyped more. And if you look at the person they hyped, he had no chance winning against Dembele because like 11 journalists voted for him and Dembele was like 71. So I feel like Rafinha deserves to be on number 2, Lamine second or third, and I feel Pedri deserves better than 11 because you find Kylian Mbappe at number 6 and Pedri at number 11 while he was there controlling the midfield and contributing to the team. So like I was surprised. We're all surprised, but at this point, we don't know the criteria of the Ballon d'Or because if you look at the women's Ballon d'Or, it was also disappointing. You find everyone was expecting Alessia Russo because she managed to beat Aitana Bonmatí twice in England and Arsenal, bringing the UEFA Champions League to Arsenal for the very first time, the very first UEFA men's and women's, the very first time to the Premier League, and beating again Aitana in the final Euro, and you find she gets third place and Aitana gets first place. But you might say no, she had domestic trophies and everything. But if you look at the amount of journalists that voted for the women's Ballon d'Or, I feel that just shows that the journalists never even watched female football. They don't watch female football. They just know who is the current best Aitana Bonmatí. So let's just vote for her. Like she's the best, so let's forget and vote for her. Otherwise, I feel like Alessia Russo like deserved that Ballon d'Or, but it is what it is. Aitana Bonmatí is actually very good.
Okay, so to our viewers, in case you're just a bit behind, so Madam Luwana is talking about the current rankings that were given to Aitana Bonmatí from Barcelona Femen winning the Ballon d'Or again. So she's won it, I think, 3 times in a row, Aitana Bonmatí. And this time around, Madam Luwana felt like Russo was robbed because Russo plays for Arsenal, and Arsenal managed to beat Barcelona Femen in the UEFA Champions League final. Not forgetting in the Euros, when England was playing against Spain, Russo plays for England national team, and they managed again to beat Spain in the Euros. And Russo was just there performing to her level best, but still the odds went in favor of Aitana Bonmatí because she's always been delivering. Sorry. So fast forward, ladies, we're going to talk about the next games that will be taking place in the English Premier League. I think you're going to take this first, Madam Ruth Nyorongo. Manchester United, Sunderland, tomorrow. What's your say about the game? Prediction. What do you think the game is going to be?
So, if we actually build up our momentum so well and we have a good defense, I think we can win this game.
Okay.
Yeah, we can win this game. Yeah, we can do it. So we just have to like have good defense and good everything, like good positioning and everything. So the transition should be So we can actually win this game.
Madam Luwana, fast forward another minute. Chelsea, Liverpool tomorrow, English Premier League.
Chelsea, Liverpool. I feel Liverpool want to prove themselves. So as Chelsea, I feel it will be a draw because Cole Palmer wants to prove himself and Liverpool wants to get back 2 losses. So I feel a draw.
Manchester City, Brentford, Madam Luwana.
Manchester City.
Manchester City. Ruth, Manchester City, Brentford.
Manchester City. There's Holland, guys. Come on.
Okay, he is a score-scoring machine. Lastly, Madam Luana, Real Madrid, Villarreal. Not forgetting that Villarreal hasn't lost a single game in the La Liga this season, and you'll be playing them tomorrow. What's your take about the game?
Real Madrid, we don't care who never lost, they're losing. Real
Champions
Madrid
are
is winning. Mbappe is on fire. Adagula is ready to assist and score. So Real Madrid.
Ladies, thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you.
It has been an awesome event. Like I said, it was going to be a very big event in Mr. Zimba's voice. And the panel here of ladies has just been awesome panel. I think Nico Fudan foot next time. Madam Ruth, Manchester United, Luana, Real Madrid. You guys, we still need you for the next episode. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching this show on the Sports Smarts, the ultimate question and answer challenge. To our viewers, this is episode 3, and the Sports Smarts will be coming to you live every Friday. Ngamamona 16 hours on the Information and Communications University television. That's ICU TV. Not forgetting the Zambia Research and Development Center, ZRDC. Also ICU TV on YouTube and the Information and Communications University Facebook page. I have been your host, Stephen Chisengamwape, and see you next time.